Hello everyone, this is Jessica with Black Travelers Network, and this is an exciting story to hear coming to us out of South Africa. Before I go any further, I'm going to encourage you to take a second and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with us as we discuss all things related to travel, Black travelers, and of course news throughout the African diaspora. So this story is from International Business Times, and the title of the article is "Trump Asked to Allow White South African Farmers to Immigrate to the United States After Land Confiscation Vote." Very big news. Almost 12,000 people have signed a petition asking Donald Trump to allow white South African farmers to immigrate to the United States after the country's parliament passed a motion to explore amending the Constitution to allow expropriation of land without compensation. South Africa's parliament passed a motion to expropriate land without compensation on Tuesday, February 27, 2018, by an overwhelming majority of 241 votes to 83 votes against. The ruling African National Congress, ANC, supported the motion. The motion was proposed by the far left Economic Freedom Fighters, also known as EFF Party, whose leader, Julius Malema, told the parliament,
"We must ensure that we restore the dignity of our people without compensating the criminals who stole our land."
The motion will now be assessed by the Constitutional Review Committee, who are ordered to report back by August 30th. Any constitutional amendment will then have to be drafted and made it through multiple layers of the legislature. Following the vote, an online petition was started calling on President Trump to, quote, initiate an emergency immigration plan allowing white Boers to come to the United States, end quote. Just for clarification, a Boer is a member of the Dutch and Huguenot population that settled in South Africa in the late 17th century. The petition, which has been signed by 11,800 people, suggests that Trump should stop letting refugees from Somalia and countries in the Middle East enter the country as they, quote, cannot be vetted, end quote, and should allow South Africans into the United States instead. Quote, they can easily be vetted and also possess skills that make them compatible with our culture and civilization, the petition states. A similar petition with over 17,000 signatures is calling on Theresa May, Jean-Claude Juncker, and Angela Merkel to, quote, allow all white South Africans the right to return to Europe, end quote. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has promised to speed up the transfer of land from white to black farmers. During a television interview, he said to resolve the issue of racial inequality in land ownership, quote, once and for all.
The taking of land from the indigenous people of this country was the original sin. It caused divisions, hurt and pain amongst our people.
Critics have compared the move to expropriate without compensation to the problematic redistribution of land in Zimbabwe under Robert Mugabe. Economist Eddie Cross has estimated that Zimbabwe's land redistribution cost $20 billion, taking into account the missed export revenues and food imports, as well as the lack of economic growth. So there are a couple of points I'd like to make regarding this story. The first point is that the story talks about two separate petitions. One petition is targeted towards Donald Trump, and this particular petition has right now roughly over 13,000 signatures, And what I find interesting is that there obviously have been a couple of complaints about the petition, which both of these petitions, by the way, can be found on change.org. But there have been a couple of complaints about the petition, which has caused the petition to be flagged and for people to be warned that there are some points that are made in the petition that may not be accurate, and so it almost like encourages people to research it before they sign it. So that's the first petition. The second petition appears to actually come from a white South African, and this particular petition has over 72,000 supporters, and this petition is targeting the Council of the European Union. And the point that gets made in this particular petition, and again, like, you have to research what is said in these petitions because a lot of it is exaggerated and can be fact checked. But I would say that what is raised in the petition that's targeted towards the Council of the European Union is that these South Africans are basically saying, hey, look, we've applied for citizenship to European countries such as the Netherlands and the UK, and we've been rejected. And as a result, they feel that they are being mistreated in these particular countries. They use the Jews as an example of having a right of return to Israel, and so they're asking for a right of return to Europe. And they also go on to say that although they're white South Africans, that they are hoping that this petition, or would like this petition to extend to whites in Zimbabwe and Namibia because they're facing similar situation, but that white South Africans are the largest population of whites in Southern Africa by far, so they're sort of like taking the lead on it. Again, both of these petitions can be found on change.org. I think you should take a look at it, and it's worth understanding what people on of a different opinion or of the same opinion, depending on who's listening to this. It's important to understand the arguments that folks are making, so I'd encourage you to take a closer look at the petitions and formulate your own opinion. And I'm wanting to hear from you. What do you think about Trump allowing these white South Africans to immigrate to the United States since they have it so hard and their land is being taken away? What are your thoughts on it? Do you think that that's fair? Is it something you would support? Or what challenges come if he allows all of these people who want to come, all of these white South Africans who want to come to the United States? Does that open the door for other non-white South Africans who may want to come to the United States as well? And I say that because having been to South Africa multiple times, obviously we go as a network. We've taken multiple trips to South Africa, and we're looking to take another one a little bit later on this year. What is most interesting is that most of the black South Africans that you meet will tell you that they would like to visit the United States. Not saying they want to move, because clearly their country is amazingly beautiful. They're not saying they want to pick up and move to the United States, but they are saying they'd like to visit, and it's really, really challenging. So if Trump were to allow these white South Africans to immigrate, does that immigration status then also extend to black South Africans? And if so, what do you feel? How do you feel about that? What are some of your thoughts? So thank you for listening. Make sure you drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe.